Hold on a second. Something is really funky about this. This is weird. The scale of this is all wrong. And then look at this. The instructions are upside down. No wonder this thing is from Australia. Yeah, look at that. Tell that to the flat earthers. Today is a kind of nice day, and what I mean by that is this is my first day in a long time that I can devote all my time to just working on this car. Because if you look at what we did yesterday, it was basically just push out some bushings and that was it. Not exactly as productive as I had hoped. Anyway, so today we're actually going to get to see this car on all four wheels. I'm dead serious. It's going to happen. And I'm not making too many promises because I'd love to get a lot more than that done. But so far, as you can see, we have our hub kind of just sitting there already, ready to go. So we're going to tighten that bad boy up, get our bearing back on, our wheel bearing, and then begin messing with the secondary handbrake. That's going to be really fun to see. We're going to have to start tackling the routing of the brake lines for that, then kind of go over a couple of little issues that I have with it. But beyond that, we're making some real progress. Like, it's pretty sweet. I'm looking forward to this thing.
Time to get our bracket installed. So here is our freshly modified brake rotor dust cover, and here is our secondary rear brake bracket, right? So this guy will sit on here like so. As you can see, it fits really well. Just barely enough clearance, exactly where it should be. So this guy will go on, this guy will go over it, and our new bearing will basically sit on top of it. So it included 4 new bolts for our bearing, of course, to make up for the extra depth that this thickness of this bracket will cause. So I'm going to go ahead and slide these guys in. All right. Slide our bracket over those. Just like that. And of course, our cover will go on top of that. Just like so. Perfect. Sweet. Can't forget this. Okay. This is a Fender roller. I think that's probably pretty good. We'll test fit it, of course. If you're doing this on your own and it's a nice car, you don't want to, well, I'll say this. One of the first Fenders I've ever rolled, we ended up pulling a lot more than we thought, and we had basically the equivalent of a trophy truck fender flare on the side of it. So long story short, just try, it may take you longer, but in order to do it well, take it off, put the wheel on, set it down, do that multiple times until you get the look, the just correct look, the right amount of overhang. The front looks like it's slightly higher than the rear at the moment, which is not advantageous for drifting. Technically, we would like to have one of those raked looks to transfer as much weight to the front of the wheels as we could. So I think we're going to do a little bit of adjustment in the front and maybe slam the back on both the left and right sides, because this looks like it's basically pretty much 3 fingers, but it's 3 fingers at an angle. And this has 3 fingers as well. So we'll lift it up. We'll lower this as low as we possibly can. And then we'll lower the front to kind of compensate for that. I think we have a lot of brake cleaner. Okay. It'd be a good segue right now to talk about sway bars and end links and all that good stuff. If you don't know what an adjustable sway bar is, this is a great little topic. So it's adjustable, which allows you to change the stiffness at which the anti-roll bar or quote-unquote sway bar assists. Oh, what in the world? Oh, I think it's because this tire is down low, deep down low, there it goes. You know what? So, for example, we got 3 bolt holes on each side, and the closer you get from your mounting point on your chassis, which would be here, where our Zerk fitting is, to these 3 holes, the stiffer the anti-roll bar or sway bar will be, or the more it will assist in basically flattening the chassis while taking turns. So if we were to use this bolt hole, we would have the maximum stiffness, as well as using the other bolt hole that is the closest to our body fitting, like so. Now the beautiful thing about adjustable ones is that you don't have to have the holes in the exact same, matching hole. You don't have to use the front one on this one and the front one on this one. You can mix and match all you want, which gives you, I don't know, something like maybe 12 different settings you can have it as, maybe 9. That way, if you feel like the rear end's just a little too loose, you can come and soften the spring rate, effectively soften the spring rate. But again, the sway bar only interacts with the suspension during turning. That's one of the beautiful things about it. If you have your daily driver and you don't want to be, going over crazy potholes with super stiff springs, you can just simply get a larger or stiffer sway bar and only have an increased spring rate when you need it, when you're turning. Now, if you go over speed bumps or anything like that, you're not going to notice a huge difference. But if you go over, let's say, a pothole that's super deep and it upsets the car, you'll notice then. But for the most part, these anti-roll bars only come into effect when the car is transitioning from left to right, or when you're actually turning. So, since we are planning to drift this car, and I think, I'm just guessing, we want the least amount of grip in the back as possible, at least for, the car doesn't have a lot of power, so I doubt we're going to be basically drifting this thing with the throttle alone. So we're going to increase this thing all the way to the stiffest, and if we need to, we can back it down. So we're going to be using the 2 stiffest points on our sway bar, which are the holes that are closest to the chassis mounting point. Right there. I hope this thing, I don't want this thing to move though. I'm gonna reach there anyway. All right, so it looks like the subframe is it. So we got a spot up here. So if we follow that guy all the way up, we can secure it to the chassis here with this. This engine's so good, it makes oil pressure without even running.